Have you ever paused to ponder what it truly means to have a right? A right that is innately yours, regardless of where you're from, what you believe in, or who you are. Welcome to a journey through the fascinating universe of human rights. Imagine a world where every individual, irrespective of their nationality, ethnicity, gender, or religion, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms. These are the rights that are universally inherent, inalienable, and indisputable, such as the right to express oneself freely, the right to associate, the right to work, and many more. These are what we call human rights. They are thought to be so essential that no government should interfere with their implementation. Now let's delve a bit deeper and explore how different cultures perceive these rights. The Western perspective, for instance, understands human rights as inherent and inalienable to all, irrespective of cultural or traditional differences. It's a universalist approach that seeks to provide these rights to all humans, transcending cultural or traditional boundaries. However, the Eastern perspective offers a different lens. Human rights, in this context, are not just abstract legalistic principles, but are intertwined with religious, social, and cultural norms. They have been practiced through various customs and traditions since ancient times. In this view, human rights are not merely bestowed, but are deeply ingrained in the fabric of society. Interestingly, while both perspectives agree on the importance of human rights, they differ in their approach and understanding. The Western view leans more towards the universal application of these rights, often overlooking cultural nuances. On the other hand, the Eastern perspective values the cultural context in which these rights are practiced, emphasizing that human rights cannot be divorced from the society in which they are implemented. To encapsulate, human rights are fundamental rights and freedoms that belong to every individual, irrespective of their nationality, ethnicity, gender, religion, or any other characteristic. While the Western perspective views these rights as universally applicable, the Eastern perspective emphasizes the importance of cultural and societal context in implementing these rights. It's a complex and fascinating world where different perspectives coexist, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in conflict. But one thing is clear: human rights in all their forms are indispensable. They form the bedrock of any fair and just society, and it's our collective responsibility to uphold and protect them. Thank you for joining this enlightening journey through the world of human rights, where we've explored different perspectives and understood their importance. Stay tuned for more insightful discussions.
Principle of human rights. It is incumbent upon each of us to uphold these sacred principles. From the time we are young, we learn to abide by rules set out in our homes, schools, and the broader community, understanding that defying them brings consequences from parents and educators. As we advance into our teenage years, it becomes increasingly vital that we take on the mantle of responsibility. In my perspective, the keystones of human rights lie within equality and liberty. No matter the gender, everyone is accorded the same worth as human beings, an attribute inherently tied to the dignity of every individual. Humanity can be split into two primary categories: male and female. The notion of parity between men and women does not only act as an indicator for the United Nations' endeavors towards human rights, but it also stands as a basic right itself. Irrespective of gender, each individual holds equal worth as a human being, a value intrinsically linked to the innate dignity of all. Now let's delve into the dimensions of human rights. They're like the facets of a diamond, each reflecting a different aspect of our humanity. There are 5 primary dimensions: civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. None of these can exist in isolation. They intertwine and complement each other in our daily lives. The term civil refers to the idea of being cultured and polite, representative of a civilized individual. It encompasses our right to life, liberty, and security, and the freedom to express our thoughts and beliefs. Political is the next dimension. This involves our rights to participate in the political process, to vote, to run for office, and to express our political opinions freely. It's all about the process of making decisions that affect our communities. Next up is economic. This dimension revolves around our right to work in just and favorable conditions, to form and join trade unions, and to enjoy a fair wage. It's concerned with how we manage scarcity and use resources, and how we create and distribute goods and services. The social dimension of human rights refers to our rights to social security, health and well-being, and education. It recognizes our need to connect with others and form social bonds. Finally, we have cultural rights. These rights protect our freedom to enjoy and develop cultural life, to use our languages, and to participate in cultural activities. They safeguard our ability to express our humanity, our worldviews, and the meanings we attach to our existence and development. In conclusion, understanding human rights is not just about memorizing a list of entitlements. It's about appreciating the complex interplay of civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights that allow us to live as free, equal, and dignified individuals. Remember, our rights come with responsibilities. We have a duty to respect the rights of others, just as we expect them to respect ours. Because in the end, the essence of human rights lies in the recognition and respect of the inherent dignity and worth of every person.
Have you ever pondered the origins of human rights and how our understanding of them has evolved over time? Today, we delve into the fascinating theories that have shaped our perception of human rights. First on our timeline is the natural rights theory. This theory, championed by thinkers like John Locke, posits that human rights are universal and cannot be taken away, as they stem from our very nature and inherent dignity. Locke famously argued that every individual has inherent rights to life, liberty, and property. Next, we move to the Enlightenment era, where the liberal theory of human rights emerges. This theory sees human rights as safeguards for individuals against abusive power. Thinkers such as John Stuart Mill underscored the importance of civil and political rights, like freedom of speech, assembly, and due process. Critiques of this theory suggest that it falls short in ensuring substantive equality and social or economic rights, despite its influence on documents like the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The utilitarian theory, championed by Jeremy Bentham, offered a different perspective. Bentham argued that rights arise from utility, essentially what brings happiness and avoids pain. Essentially, rights could be overridden for the greater good. John Stuart Mill later modified this view with his harm principle, which restricts state infringement on individual liberties. Critics argue that utilitarianism can justify violating the rights of minority groups for the benefit of the majority. Then we have the communitarian theory. This perspective suggests that rights emerge from shared values within a society. It aims to strike a balance between individual freedoms and social duties, promoting the common good. Lastly, we come to the feminist theory of human rights. Feminist thinkers argue that traditional human rights theory has largely reflected male perspectives, often neglecting women's concerns. They advocate for the inclusion of rights such as reproductive freedom, equal pay, and freedom from violence. They contend that human rights theory has traditionally privileged male perspectives and overlooked women's oppression. From natural rights to feminist theory, our understanding of human rights has been shaped by a myriad of perspectives. Each theory has added a layer of complexity, deepening our understanding of what it means to be human and what rights that humanity entails. As we continue to evolve, so too will our theories of human rights, highlighting the importance of ongoing dialogue and debate in this vital area.
Have you ever pondered the intricate relationship between the law of nature and the law of rights? To understand this connection, we delve into the mind of 19th century German philosopher Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, whose philosophical works, particularly his philosophy of right, offer profound insights into this relationship. Hegel's early works focused on the law of nature. This law refers to the state of existence where individuals, driven by their subjective wills and desires, form a more primitive and unorganized form of social order. As Hegel's philosophical journey progressed, he introduced the concept of the law of rights. This law, according to Hegel, is a higher stage of ethical development. It emerges as a result of the dialectical progression of history and the development of human consciousness. One of the central features of Hegel's philosophy is his dialectical method. This method involves a process of thesis, antithesis, synthesis. It begins with a thesis, which represents a particular idea or position. This thesis is then challenged by an opposing idea or position, the antithesis. The clash between the thesis and antithesis results in a synthesis. a new idea that reconciles the contradictions between the two. Hegel is often associated with absolute idealism, a theory that posits that ultimate reality is fundamentally mental or spiritual. The material world, according to Hegel, is a manifestation of the absolute idea or spirit. In the realm of the absolute idea, everything is interconnected. Hegel believed that history is a rational and purposeful process driven by the unfolding of the absolute spirit. History, in Hegel's view, is a progressive development of human consciousness and freedom. Each stage of history represents a higher form of self-awareness. Hegel's political philosophy emphasizes the significance of the state in realizing individual freedom. He argued that individuals achieve their true freedom through participation in a well-ordered state. In this sense, the state becomes a necessary vehicle for the realization of individual freedom. The culmination of Hegel's philosophical system is the concept of the absolute spirit. This represents the highest level of reality and the ultimate truth or absolute knowledge. It encompasses all forms of human knowledge, including art, religion, and philosophy. In summary, Hegel's philosophy offers a comprehensive understanding of the relationship between the law of nature and the law of rights. His dialectical method, absolute idealism, and his concept of the absolute spirit provide a profound perspective on the progression of human consciousness and the realization of individual freedom. His philosophy remains significant as it continues to influence contemporary philosophical thought.
Have you ever pondered the profound question, how does secularism, the separation of religious institutions from state affairs, impact our human rights? Secularism, a principle that emerged during the Enlightenment era, has always been a cornerstone of democratic societies. Its evolution is marked by the constant struggle between religious institutions seeking to control state affairs and those advocating for the separation of these entities. The birth of secularism was a response to centuries of religious dominance over state affairs. It sought to establish a realm where political decisions were made based on reason, evidence, and humanist principles, rather than religious doctrine. This marked a significant shift in societal norms, leading to a more inclusive, tolerant, and diverse society. In this dance of ideologies, two partners stand out: humanism and secularism. They play a significant role in shaping our understanding of human rights. Secularism, the principle separating religion from civil and state affairs, is an ideology that resonates deeply with the civilian class. It empowers civilians, giving them the freedom to express their beliefs without the fear of state interference, thereby promoting the basic human rights of individuals. On the other side, humanism draws inspiration from benevolent human nature. It guides us through the maze of life with rational reasoning. Its core values are kindness, empathy, and respect for all life. Humanism calls upon leaders, those in positions of power, to uphold these values. By doing so, it ensures that the leaders prioritize the basic human rights of every individual, treating them with the dignity and respect they deserve. These ideologies, intertwined, form the bedrock of human rights in the modern era. Together, they promote a society where every individual is free to express their beliefs and live their lives without fear of discrimination or persecution. They ensure that every person, regardless of their beliefs, is treated with dignity, respect, and kindness. In the next scene, we will delve into the profound impact that secularism has had on human rights. Secularism's impact on human rights is profound. It supports the right of individuals to practice, observe, or change their religion freely. It upholds the principle of non-discrimination based on religion or belief, ensuring that individuals are treated equally regardless of their religious affiliation or lack thereof. Moreover, secularism recognizes the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including the right to hold non-religious or atheist beliefs. Secularism and humanism form the bedrock of human rights in the modern era. Humanism, a worldview based on reason and kindness, complements secularism by ensuring that the basic human rights of every individual are respected and protected. Imagine a secular society where religions coexist, but the state maintains a neutral stance on religious matters. It safeguards the freedom to believe, worship, express religious commitments, and the freedom not to believe. However, the secular character of a society can be eroded if religious groups begin to demand special, institutionalized systems of privilege. In essence, Secularism and humanism are intertwined with the concept of human rights. They ensure religious freedom, uphold the principle of non-discrimination, and protect the freedom of thought and conscience. To recap, we have journeyed through the evolution of secularism and its impact on humanism. We've seen how it emerged as a response to religious dominance, how it supports individual rights, and how it's challenged by religious groups seeking privilege. As we delve deeper into the intricate relationship between secularism and humanism, we realize that they are not separate entities, but rather two sides of the same coin, each influencing and shaping the other. So the next time you ponder the impact of secularism on human rights, remember, it's a complex dance, a balance that ensures our freedom and rights in the modern world.
Consider the example of Europe's transition, a time marked by increased migration, a vast movement of people, and a population that was as diverse as it was mobile. Individuals, often strangers, had to collaborate for work-related purposes. Their interactions were governed by rules and regulations, and in return, they received salaries. But the social fabric was changing. Traditional norms were breaking down, replaced by a focus on individual gain. This is what Emile Durkheim would have described as a state of anomie. Robert Merton, a sociologist who expanded on Durkheim's concept, argued that anomie occurs when there's a disjunction between societal goals and the means to achieve them. Consider a society that emphasizes material success and the pursuit of wealth. What happens when individuals lack the means to achieve these goals? Merton proposed 5 possible responses: conformity, innovation, ritualism, retreatism, and rebellion. But here's the interesting part. What does all this have to do with human rights? Human rights refer to the basic rights that individuals enjoy in society: the right to free speech, freedom of religious belief, and the right to life. In contrast, anomie refers to a lack of clear social norms and constraints on behavior, leading to a loss of authority of social norms and potential illegal means to achieve goals. In a society devoid of norms, human rights are vulnerable to violations. That's why establishing a sound legal system and social norms to protect people's basic human rights is an essential means to prevent the occurrence of anomie. Understanding the concept of anomie and its implications on human rights is crucial. It underscores the importance of justice, equality, and dignity for all individuals, and the need for a global effort to protect and promote human rights. This understanding highlights the role of individuals, governments, and international organizations in achieving this goal. So when we talk about the state of society and the role of norms, we must also consider the importance of human rights, because a society without norms is a society at risk, and human rights are the bulwark that guard against this risk.
In the conclusion, have you ever stopped to consider what it truly means to be human? What inherent rights do we possess simply by being born into this world? These questions are at the heart of human rights, a concept so profound yet often taken for granted. Human rights, the belief in equality, justice, and dignity for all. Human rights are not bestowed by any authority, they are inherent to our existence. They are the basic standards without which people cannot live in dignity. To violate them is to deny individuals their fundamental moral entitlements. But human rights are not just about principles and theories. They have real-life implications that affect every aspect of our lives. They influence how governments function, how laws are made and enforced, and how we interact with each other as individuals and as a society. However, the sad reality is that human rights violations occur every day. From the persecution of religious minorities to the discrimination against racial and ethnic groups, injustices persist worldwide. These violations remind us of the continuous need for vigilance, advocacy, and action to protect and promote human rights. The responsibility to uphold human rights falls not only on governments but also on each one of us. We all have a role to play in promoting justice, equality, and dignity for all. International organizations such as the United Nations work tirelessly to create a global framework for protecting human rights. But their efforts can only be successful with the support and participation of individuals and nations alike. In summary, Human rights are the cornerstone of a fair and just society. They provide the foundation for freedom, justice, and peace in the world. They remind us of our shared humanity and our collective responsibility to respect, protect, and promote the rights of all individuals. The stories of Rosa Parks, Malala Yousafzai, and countless others serve as powerful reminders of the transformative power of human rights. So the next time you find yourself pondering what it means to be human, remember this. Our humanity is defined not just by our existence, but by our inalienable rights. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure these rights are upheld, respected, and protected for ourselves and for future generations.